So no, you read that right. Even though I have the spelling skills of freshly hatched tadpole, this Hobie 360 was exactly $100. And let me tell you how I got it. Okay, so how did I get a $5,000 boat for only $100? Well, plain and simply, this is a warranty claim boat. There was a guy that I know that I fish with, posted it on Facebook. Hobie sent him a replacement hull. He stripped all the parts he needed off of it, handles, covers, whatever he needed for his new boat, and he posted this for sale. Now, me offering him money was kind of a joke, but I said, hey, if you take $100, I'll come and get it this weekend. Well, guess what? I went and picked it up. So what we got to do is a little bit of repair, and we got to replace all the handles, rudders, you know, all the little bits that you have to replace on a boat. And we're going to do some plastic welding and fix what caused the warranty claim in the first place. And I'm going to show y'all how to do that. This being a boat that had a warranty done on it means we can do whatever we want to this boat and not have to worry about violating the warranty. But you can do whatever you want to a boat you paid for anyways. You're just going to void your warranty if you do certain things to it. We don't have that problem with this boat. We can make this the ultimate fishing setup if we want to, and that's what we're going to do. So give me just a minute while I get set up, and we're going to start stripping this thing down and start repairing and replacing stuff. Now, when he got his new boat, he had to take a bunch of stuff off of it. I didn't get this drive with this boat. I still don't have a seat for it yet. I'm still working on that. But all the handles, all the rudder handles and the 360 handles and the guides, all that I had to find online and source. And you would not believe what it is to find screws for this stupid boat. But let's take a look at what we're going to fix on this boat. This right here is a very common occurrence with some of these Hobies. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this seat riser off. We're going to level this crack back out, plastic weld it, and then what we're going to do is put these reinforcement plates that I found online. These things are 3D printed, and I'll put the information where I got these on the screen. But let's start by getting these parts taken off. Alright, first step. Now what we have to do is assess our situation here. As you can see, it is a pretty gnarly crack. So what I want to do is try to get this all back even with each other before I do some plastic welding. Alright, let's clean up this crack just a little bit. Alright, time for some plastic welding. Okay, maybe you don't need this, but you might want to have some safety glasses on hand. Now I'm going to show you guys about these plastic stitching or plastic welders here. This is just how I do it. You know, everybody has a different way of doing things. You know how that is. What I like to do is I like to heat it up, get it hot, press it in, and give it just a little turn. Just a turn. But these, you can go this way with them, or this way. With the way this crack is running, and the pattern in this wire, we're going to go this way. Once I get them in and seated, I'm going to turn it just a little bit, and then I'll show you the second step to plastic welding, at least in my opinion. Thing gets hot quick. There you go, in, turn a little bit, and let it cool off and pull out. And that is how you do staple plastic welding with one of these little guns here. Alright, let's get this all stitched up. And be careful, shit gets hot. You might want to wear gloves. I'm just stupid, so safety third. And you gotta be careful with these plastic kayaks. You know, at its thickest point, it might be a 1/4 inch thick, but not much more, or could be a lot less. So when you're pushing your staples in after they get hot, kind of don't go too deep, you know. But this is a great tool to have if you need to do any kind of plastic welding. If you don't have a warranty on your boat, or you buy a second-hand boat and you want to do repairs yourself and save you some money, get you one of these little welding guns here. You can get them on Amazon for $25, $30, and they are a trick. They work so well for things. Alright, step 2. What you want to do is go through and you want to cut all these little spines off so you can get this kind of smooth. And this is the tool you want to be careful with on your boat, because there's no on and off switch on this. Once you plug it in, it's on. Getting warmer. Takes a little while for that brass fitting to heat up. Oh yeah, I'm getting warm now. Look at that. You can't hardly even tell there was a crack there. Man. Now what you don't want to do is get plastic inside your threads there. Alright, let's clean it up a little bit. And then we'll let it dry and harden. And then we'll put the plate on it. Okay, that's the repairs made to the Hobie 360, or as I like to call it, the Frankenstein, because it's getting pieced in part back together. Now that we've got the repairs made to that crack, let's go ahead and start throwing this boat back together. All the knobs, rods, plates that we got for it. Let's start the assembly process. Alright guys, when you get these new plates off of Facebook, Amazon, or wherever you find them at, they're going to come with new hardware. You want to make sure you use it, because you're adding distance or thickness. This is the old one, these are the new ones. So you want the ones that are just a little bit longer that comes with it for this part. Normally I'm all about my power tools, but with this particular situation, I think I'm going to go ahead and just use the T-handled Allen wrenches and do it by hand. Alright, welding is done. Reinforcement plates are in, new hardware is in, and that seat bracket is done and ready to go. On to the next project on here. Now when it comes to all the steering controllers and the rudder handles and all that stuff that I had to get for this boat, I wish I could say I could just go to one place and find it all. But some of these parts are really hard to find because they're either out of stock, nobody has them, just crazy. One of them is even a 3D printed part that I had to get. And I just made the silly assumption that all these would come with the screws and the hardware that they needed. Not a single one of them came with a screw. So I had to source stainless steel screws in all the different sizes that I need. And on the 360, the left and right screws are 2 different sizes. And I'll put those on the screen, what you need for those. But with that being said, let's get this thing attached. Now, one thing I did have to do, I had to do a little fabricating because, let me show you. There's these pins that go on the rudders on the posts that stick up that actually turn the rudders and the handles. Well, one side had a pin, and I'm assuming this side had the pin, but when I brought it home, I didn't pay attention to it, and I guess it flew off somewhere. But just like the screws, this pin and that pin are 2 different sizes. So what did I do? I just made me one out of case hardened steel. But as you can see, they're 2 different sizes. So this side's just a little bit smaller than that side. Port and starboard if you want to use boating terms. So let's get this on. That on. We'll get us a screw in here, give us some leverage here. So what we want to do is pull that up into place and seat this thing all the way down. Get us a little leverage. Get that pushed out. All right, there's our pin. Now the screws that I found for this particular handle right here, you can either get 1 inch or 3/4. One's too long and one is just a smidge too short. So I just cut one down, and that's how I sorted out the screw size for this one. Because guess what you can't find hardly anywhere? Screws for a hobie. You know, Hobie went through a thing there for a little while where it was kind of tough to get warranty stuff and parts and hell, almost anybody to answer the phone. But I think they're getting better now. Next, steering knob. That's gonna need some adjusting. There's the 360 control. Let's move over to the other side just for the rudder handle. The neighbors are losing their mind over there. All right, this one's going to be a little bit different. I've got to put this riser back together here. So let me see what I need for that. And that goes there. Make sure it's nice and straight. That, then it'll slide right over. Beautiful. Where's my exceptionally long screwdriver? And before I finish this, I'm gonna go ahead and lock this H-rail back down. All right, guys. Now we need to put this pin back into this one. This is a 1/4 inch thread on this thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run a screw in here to try to, just to bring it up. And then I'll put the riser and the steering handle on. All right, so there we go. Pin's in. We can take this screw out. All right. Bingo, bango. Ooh, it sounds good. All right, guys, we got both the steering assemblies put back on, the 360 handle. Let's take this drive that, shout out to my buddy Mike. I was able to acquire this drive. He told me I didn't owe him anything for it, but I gave him money towards his fishing membership, so I paid his membership this year for his fishing tournaments, and he gave me a 360 drive. That's a solid dude right there, because I looked everywhere for one of these for a decent price. Even aftermarket, they're still $800–900. Now, it's dirty and it needs to be cleaned up, and we're going to do that. We might even do that in this video, but we have a drive so we can test this thing out. Like I said, the only thing we don't have is a seat, but I'm working on that. Now, the one bonus about this boat is it's new enough to have the new 360 drive, not the old one that was like super problematic. So let's get this drive dropped in and see how she works. Up to lock. All right. All right. There we go. All right, check the rudders. Yes, sir. Now I will say, the operation of the 360 is not very smooth. It's going to have to take a little cleaning and work, but it's in and it works. That locks it in place. That's free spin. I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like there should be another part that doesn't allow it to do that. Great. One more thing I gotta research and find. Other than that, it's working. Well, ain't that just my damn luck? Get going on a project and it starts to rain. Oh well. Keep going. Let's take a peep in Dr. Pepper break. One of you two sponsor me. You know how much money I've spent on Peeps and Dr. Pepper in my life? Well, guys, I fixed everything that I felt wrong with the boat. I have all the parts that I have put on the boat and working and functional. Little question mark about the drive lock. I'm not quite sure about that just yet. I have to ask a lot of people that I know that have 360s. But the real question is with this boat, why am I just now working on it when it's been sitting in my shed for almost a year now? Well, one, I just didn't want to fool with it because I didn't want to put the money into it. And two, we have a family vacation coming up in Florida. Well, they call it a family vacation. I call it a 7-day fishing trip. And I want to have this boat ready to go for that trip here in a couple months. And right now, all I need is a seat, and that joker's ready for the water. So what I really want to ask you guys is, what should I do with Frankenstein when we're finished with it? Should I add a fancy forward-facing sonar, trolling motor? What could we do to this boat? Leave a comment, because like I said, there's no warranty on this boat now, so we can do whatever we want to it. Or I put a trolling motor on this boat, forward-facing sonar, get a really nice new seat for it, and then when you guys get me to 100,000 subscribers, I just give it away. What do you think about that? Leave a comment and let me know. If you or somebody you know would like to have this boat, hit the follow button. Come on, subscribe. Share it with everybody. Share it with everybody you know. Anybody you think might want this boat, have them subscribe. Let's get to 100,000. I think we can do it. I'm just over 2,000. I know it's not going to happen overnight, but come on, guys. You want this boat? That's over a $5,000 boat. And once I put a trolling motor and sonar on it, it's going to be worth a lot more than that to somebody. So all it's going to cost you is a sub. Let's go. Let's do it.